This is RTP. This is RTP180.
All right, thank you. So you're hearing a lot about science tonight, a subject near and dear to my heart. I used to work as a scientist. Now I'm a science educator, communicating astronomy to the public. And part of my work is with the North Carolina Science Festival. There's the title slide. And this is a celebration of science every year. During the entire month of April, hundreds of science events for the public across the state. And for the Science Festival, I coordinate a statewide star party with the help of many others, hosts across the state, amateur astronomers, other partners, funding from NC Space Grant. And we think North Carolina has the biggest statewide star party for the public in the entire universe. Okay, I still didn't hear a challenge to that claim. Good. All right, so at our Star Party events, we have lots of hopes. We hope that people will do science, they'll learn science, they'll connect intellectually to the sky. We hope that they'll observe the sky. We hope that they'll learn to use tools in a scientific context. We hope that they'll do hands-on activities, that they'll learn science concepts that are new to them. But I also hope for something more than just intellectual connections. I also want people to connect emotionally to the sky. And one of the ways that we can make emotional connections is through story. We humans understand the world through story. And look at this picture, for example. Now, in a scientific way, you might think, okay, yep, that's that hazy band of starlight that represents the plane of our galaxy, the Milky Way. But people all around the world have looked at that hazy band of light and told stories about it. In Estonia, it's Lindu's wedding veil. She was weaving and weaving and weaving it while waiting for her groom, the Lord of the Northern Lights, to show up for the wedding. Northern Lights? Kind of unreliable. That wedding veil got pretty long. When you go outside tonight, if it's still clear out, you will see a famous open star cluster that you might know as the Pleiades or the Seven Sisters, but I like the Menachie story. It's the 6 onion-eating wives. They loved eating onions more than their husbands, who are now chasing them eternally across the sky, but will never catch up. There are epic stories being acted out over your head every night. This is an example of a skit of the famous Perseus and Andromeda story. All the characters in that story are represented by constellations in the sky, above the horizon right now, by the way. There's another kind of story making that happens at skywatching events for the public. People come together and they create memories that become stories that they tell later. So I am convinced that everyone here has a night sky memory, some story that is meaningful to you that relates to the night sky. For example, and I do want you to raise your hands for this, if you have ever seen a sky so dark that you were just blown away by the thousands of stars in detail in the Milky Way, can you raise your hands? Okay. Okay, this next one is only going to be for the people who are old enough. You have to be over 50 for this one. Do you have a memory of looking at the moon the same summer that somebody walked on it for the first time? I see a few proud hands over here. Okay, for those of you who are younger, this one's for you. Maybe you've seen the International Space Station passing overhead. It makes visible passes all the time. Looks like a bright white moving star, okay? Raise your hand if you've ever gone on a camping trip, maybe with your family. You stayed out looking at the sky so long, you noticed the sky actually moves. Does anybody remember the time that somebody taught them how to find the North Star? Or maybe you taught someone else how to find it? A few of you? Oops. I lost my slides. What about the first time you ever looked through a telescope, or the first time you looked through a telescope and saw something that wowed you? Craters on the moon? Moons of Jupiter? What about this planet? Saturn. It really does exist. What about last month? Anybody see the full moon move into Earth's shadow, causing a lunar eclipse? What about a year and a half ago? If you stayed in the triangle area, you saw a partial solar eclipse. Yeah, a few of you all. Maybe you saw something cool on the ground. Who went to totality? All right, so let me share my story with you. I'll be brief. I went with family and friends and thousands of strangers to Central Oregon. This is my stepsister, Emily, holding the North Carolina Science Festival spokesbot, Kelvin. And we are in a traffic jam for science. On the morning of the eclipse, we're there with my cousin Kate. We were looking at the sun, but behind us, I know it doesn't look like much in this image, you'll have to trust me, that is the second tallest mountain in Oregon, and it is way impressive when the moon's shadow suddenly swallows it. The whole mountain disappeared, and the crowd roared. And then it seemed like just seconds later, the moon's shadow raced across the planet, engulfed us, turned day into night, and created a memory and a story that we will be telling for the rest of our lives. This is what public skywatching events can do. They connect us to each other, and they connect us both intellectually and emotionally to nature. And nature is not just the land around us. It is the sky, too. When you look into the night sky on a clear night, you are looking into the universe. It is half of your field of view. So my homework for you, every clear night for the rest of your life, look into the sky. And then in April, on April 12th and 13th, I hope you'll join us and all your fellow North Carolinians at the statewide star party and learn some of the stories that the sky has to tell us, science and otherwise, and create memories and stories of your own. Thank you.